Henry Cavill, gone. Ben Affleck, gone. Gal Gadot, no. Ezra Miller, oh, you already know the story there. And now add to the DCEU unemployment line, Jason Momoa. We already knew. We've seen this coming. Hence why the projections are where they are for this upcoming flop. I think we all very much know what's going to end up happening with Aquaman 2. The only thing left to know is how bad it's going to do in comparison to its other billion-dollar brethren, sister in crime. But we'll be making those comparisons very shortly. But Jason Momoa on his Aquaman future, it's not looking good. Yeah, kind of sucks, man, because it's the end of an era. Well, can it even be the end of an era if that era never really got off the ground? Friggin' imagine, you have the most popular comic book characters. I don't even need to say some of the most. You have Batman and Superman, and you couldn't even get over $1 billion. You had to leave that up to that cardboard cutout with a decent ass and Gal Gadot to be the only person to break into the 10-digit club. What the hell are you guys doing over there? Oh, absolutely nothing, and just dealing with, Captain Edgy with his mopey goddamn Superman. But we're just about out of that era. Oh, thank God. But not before the final turd circles the drain. Shout out Amber Heard. Jason Momoa's Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is hitting theaters. It's washing up on shore, just like the carcass of a dead whale. Set to burst. Says next weekend, but this upcoming weekend. But the actor appears uncertain about the DC's character and the franchise's future. We already know where it's at, unless of course you're one of the many spin-offs of Batman, because at the end of the day, Warner Brothers needs to make some money, because they are definitely running short. They're going to have James Gunn's Batman and Matt Reeves' Batman, which is whatever, man. In an ET Online interview posted tonight, so I guess this would have been, Sunday? Oh, no, I'm sorry, that would have been on Friday. Oh, Lord. The recent Saturday Night Live host shared his doubts about continuing to play the submerged superhero he first inhabited in 2017's Justice League, where I won't say all the problems began because the scripts were obviously just as bad, dating all the way back to Man of Steel, but that's where everybody raised an eyebrow, cocked their head a little bit, and went, what the fuck is Zack Snyder doing over there? And then in the $1.15 billion grossing standalone film the following year. The truth of it is, if the audience loves it, and there's a possibility, so you're telling me there's a chance. I thought Jason Momoa was playing Aquaman, not Jim Carrey's Lloyd Christmas. No, he told E.T. But right now, I'm like, God, that's not looking good. Imagine that, man. You're out there promoting your big tentpole superhero film for Christmas long weekend, okay? And what's the lead story? I don't know if I'm going to be back. Hopefully people like it. What the fuck, man? I do kind of feel bad for Jason Momoa, because for all of the drama that has gone on surrounding this dog shit film, he's always going to get points in my heart for making Amber Heard feel uncomfortable. That's always just going to be great for me. Noting that DC chiefs James Gunn and Peter Safran want to start their own thing, I think. Unless, of course, it's somebody that he's related to. We'll just go ahead and onboard them. That's totally fine. He said in the interview that he doesn't necessarily want it to be the end, but I don't think it's really like a choice. Make sure you come to see my film. Yeah. I would laugh my balls off if this thing ends up making $1 billion. What did I say? If this ends up being just as successful, I'll shut down my channels. Yeah, I'll go ahead. I will stand true to that one. But I'm just wondering, because as we get into projections, as you can see right there, that is, despite Warner Brothers' Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, tracking to soak up some $50 to $60 million over the 4-day Christmas frame. Okay, and that's very, very interesting. James Wan directed the sequel, arrives in theaters December 22nd, and Christmas Day falls on a Monday this year, so yes, 4-day long weekend and all that stuff, because some people are, everybody obviously is going to be getting the Monday off because it's the best day of the year. Some people will also be taking that Friday or the Tuesday, however they want to go ahead and do that. So yeah, Christmas Day, it's normally a pretty busy movie day in and of itself, could end up, bolstering Aquaman. Sure seems that way. That means business for all movies will be off on Christmas Eve Sunday by 60%. Okay, from Saturday when all the picks spiking up well over 100% on Monday. Yeah, exactly. Moviegoing always picks up dramatically from Christmas Day onward. Yeah, throughout that week right there. That's what I'm thinking. Kind of in the back of my mind, it's got a chance. It's got a chance. While the projection might not seem amazing, next, note that the first Aquaman only saw an opening weekend of $67.8 million. So it's going to fall short of the original, but not that short, really. A longer tale of the superhero fish, when it came to ticket sales, was in his week's play. Okay, that's, just get to the point. All of your linguistics in concocting this paragraph look like senior citizen water exercise routine. The movie is the first 7 days cleared outright $137 million, plus previews stateside. Ultimately, Aquaman became the highest grossing Warner Brothers DC movie of all time at $1.1 billion. Granted, that total included a massive haul from China, $291.8 million. Whoa, unadjusted for currency swings and inflation. Okay, and another $20 million from Russia. So, okay, right, won't be able to pull in $20 million from Russia because we are still #stand with Ukraine. Those mullahs, those mullah? What the fuck is that? Won't be in the mix this time around. Russia, due to Hollywood's boycott of the Ukraine war, and China turning up their noses to U.S. tentpoles. So yeah, man, that's going to definitely suck. But hey, by that logic, there's still some $800 million on the table. What's stopping? What is stopping Aquaman? Okay, so taking a look at the long-term prognostication, that's what I'm very interested in. Okay, so Aquaman ends up at least projecting, according to Box Office Pro, $32 to $42 million opening weekend range. Okay, so that ended up getting adjusted up because this is we used this site before to run some numbers on this, and okay, so it's gone up. Is that what the ticket sales are pointing to? Interesting, for a domestic total of $105 to $168 million. So that's on the domestic side. That seems awfully high, especially in the wake of current superhero fare, but keep those numbers in mind. In Aquaman 2's favor, that is the mere fact that the top dog over the Christmas holiday with barely any tentpoles in the mix. Yeah, exactly. Rather a bulk of award season contenders like Iron Claw outside of the remaining wrestling fan base. And then it's kind of a weird one, right? Because it's supposed to be a biopic about the Von Erich families. So at the same time, you have to be pushing 60 for that to even resonate with you. And you have to publicly profess yourself to be a professional wrestling fan. Or there's just simply going to be those Zac Efron simps that are going to be out there. So that one could be a can't affair. So I'm intrigued, but then again, I'm an old head. And on Christmas Day, there's Amazon MGM's The Boys in the Boat. That sounds gay. Neon's Ferrari. That one sounds interesting, mostly because Adam Driver telling people that it's like, well, if you don't think that it looks good, go fuck yourself. I like that attitude. And Warner Brothers, The Color Purple. Oh, for fuck's sakes, they got that piece of shit coming out. I got to do something on that as well. And then, yeah, you can see, obviously, the big carryover, the one that just came out and dominated the box office. One way that you can put it, if it wasn't for the international release, that thing would have done fuck with the side of all. Onka. In regards to the counter-programming against Aquaman 2 on December 22nd, Sony has the Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney rom-com Anyone But You. Yeah, unless you want to go see Sydney Sweeney's tits, where you could just as easily see them with a better soundtrack and the Rolling Stones' recent music video. I don't really know why you'd want to, but okay. It is a rom-com. Bitches got to go see something if they're going to the theaters. So, okay, and there's enough simps that'll want to go for a fucking movie date. Like, what are you, stupid? And Universal have their animated bird pick Migration. Yeah, I haven't heard fucking anything about it all, but it is Illumination, and those tend to make a lot of money. Shout out Super Mario Brothers. However, what's clear is with a robust opening for Warner Brothers Wonka, expected $40 million, well, it ended up coming up just a tad bit short of that, but okay. On December 15th, the Warner Brothers Troika, yes, of the Timothée Chalamet movies in the second weekend, Color Purple and Aquaman 2. So, okay, so you have a sequel, a prequel, and a remake. Fantastic. Hollywood's definitely still bursting at the seams with ideas. Will rule the Christmas frame. Well, I guess by just sheer totality, because there's so much shit that's there. But hey, guys, what about Disney? They still got a couple of films in theater. Currently, Aquaman 2 is unaided awareness. Okay, that part of the polling whereby respondents cite a movie that they want to see without being prodded is solid for guys and ahead of the Marvels. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and The Flash ahead of Guardians. I find that very interesting. And higher than The Flash? Wild. Advance tickets went on sale early to capitalize on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. They've been on sale for a month already? What the fuck? Despite Aquaman 2's star, Jason Momoa, already putting in appearances on Saturday Night Live. Do you think that matters? Do you think anybody fucking cares about that stuff? The only thing that got traction is when a bunch of tradcucks got big mad about a parody about, our greatest ally that's out there, but whatever. The campaign of the sequel has yet to heat up entirely. No. It's never going to get above that light simmer that you're seeing right now. Don't fucking put too much stock into that. Pre-Christmas frame last year at Disney's 20th Century Studios Avatar: The Way of Water, for whatever fucking reason, made over $2 billion. And hey, that was only this time last year. Do you remember that? Avatar, such a fucking wild franchise, made about $5 billion across 2 movies. Nobody talks about it. Fucking wild. But, okay, so with all of those numbers, man, okay, so people are aware and are likely to go see Aquaman 2, at least for the guys. But you take a look at the split beforehand. You can check this if you don't believe me, but 65% of attendees for the original Aquaman were women. So it's very interesting, and I wonder why, obviously. But you can also look at the adjusted upward projection, and I'm really thinking that the Marvels is going to end up being the biggest bomb of the year and end up losing out to this $1 billion duel because, well, we've got some numbers that were released, and it's, a month release in totality, and we've seen the headlines, we've seen everything written about it, that Disney, they just gave up on it. We'll get around to reporting international numbers, that of which have been lagging tremendously, and well, it's over $200 million. Not much further over $2 million, or $200 million, okay, because guess what? Okay, right there, what was it? Yeah, and it's 5th week in release, it has under 1,000 theaters, didn't even pull in $1 million. Hell, barely broke over $500,000 in 900 theaters. It's dead, Johnny. It is dead. It's done. It's dusted. Like, we have other comparisons. I've run the numbers beforehand for every other Marvel film that's out there. They weren't even hitting those terrible numbers. Those 300,000. Okay, what was the first date that it hit, 300,000? The second Monday of release, not bolstered by a long weekend or any other additional help. $300,000. We didn't see numbers like that until its 5th Monday of release, even for Aquaman, even for Ant-Man, even for the Eternals. And looking at Aquaman's numbers, I'm going to be incredibly interested. Okay, so you got, the early previews from a couple of days before, but 27 million. And then on Christmas, 21 million. I don't think that we're likely to see those types of numbers, but the legs on this, holy, okay, it didn't end up touching 6 digits until the same point in time that the Marvels is at right now, scraping the bottom of the $100,000 barrel. I'm thinking, man, like, I've been knocking around the idea that Aquaman 2 might end up doing a little bit better than the Marvels, even with all of the bad press, even with the Amber Heard stench affixed to it, with the dead, decaying DCEU being drugged behind it like an 18-wheeler without any wheels left on the chassis. Even with all of that burden, could it outperform the Marvels? By every appreciable metric, we are looking at one final humiliation for Disney in 2023. That's going to be fun to report on. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.